enter the realm of KSBM radio's creation. Student-led from inception to narration. Crafting content from dawn until dusk. All students involved in the work and the fuss. In the heart of Townview where voices reside. Student-led discussions where ideas collide. From interviews with leaders, peers, and businesses. Just watch us work, creating innovative content. Every aspect managed with student finesse. From podcast production to social media press. No task too daunting, no challenge too grand. KSBM Radio, we taking a stand. KSBM Radio, students leading the way. Every task idea, we seize the day. Witness now as all of our efforts break through. KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
I'm closer to the music.
Broadcasting live from Marvin E. Robinson School of Business and Management, Dallas, Texas.
My radio station.
We are KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
Hello and welcome to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview. I'm your host, Pingu, joined by my co-hosts,
Jay, Rocket,
Sonia.
And today we're continuing our SBM 50 and TSM 30 alumni series. All year long, we're highlighting graduates who are making an impact in their fields, and today's guest is a perfect example. Joining us is Veronica Arredondo, a proud graduate of the School of Science and Engineering, class of 2011. During her time at SEM, she not only excelled academically, but also demonstrated leadership, serving as president of Project Green and starting the school's first recycling program. Since graduating, Veronica has gone on a powerful impact all over her community, from being crowned Miss American Indian OSU to co-founding the Intertribal community of Texas, to launching Lusky Print, a Native American women-owned business dedicated to giving back to the community. Veronica, welcome back to Townview. We're excited to have you back. Is there anything you'd like to share to the audience before we begin?
Yes, I would like to introduce myself in the traditional way. Halito Sohochifoya Veronica. Hola, mi nombre es Veronica. Hi, my name is Veronica Arredondo.
We got to have you back. So, how did you hear about Townview, and what made you decide on the School of Science and Engineering?
I actually had a conversation with my 8th grade science teacher. She knew that academically, I enjoyed learning and thrived, and I asked her as I was trying to decide what high school I wanted to attend, and she said, you should look into Townview and specifically SEM, and I had no idea about Townview. So once she told me that, I went and looked up the application process and what I had to do in order to apply, and so I went through the whole process, and I was accepted.
And what memories from your time in SEM stand out to you the most?
I would have to say it was Project Green, because that was our vision of working as a group, and we had so many ideas, and our leadership, our principals at the time, they were open and welcome to all of our ideas. So, for example, we had this large cardboard box. It was huge, and it fit right under the front staircase, and it sat right under there, and we didn't want it just to be a large cardboard box, so we decorated it as a group one day after school, and it was our way to bring awareness and education about recycling plastic bottles. And every week maybe every 2 weeks, that big box, I'm telling you, it was the size of the staircase, and it would fill up. I mean, students would walk by and toss their plastic bottles, but it was very significant, and we would recycle all of that. So I just brought a big awareness to Townview.
And who would you say you looked up to the most at Townview, and how did they influence your mindset as you transitioned into adulthood?
I would say it was my environmental science teacher, mostly because, I'm very passionate about our earth and our environment and how it impacts us globally. And he, everything is energy. And so my environmental science teacher, he just had this peaceful energy. And so when he would teach, it was easy to learn and grow with him. And most importantly, he showed us a board game. And so sometimes we would stay after school and learn how to play Power Grid, which is about sustainable energy. And I'm a big board game because it builds teamwork, group work, and then also tying it in with sustainability. And so him bringing that to us as students, not just academically, but just like outside of academics, but still learning and growing. And so for me, that anywhere I go, I think of him often because I'm like, when we go out into the world, we have to bring that piece to show everyone how we are connected with the earth and how we can use that information as we grow in any aspect.
So for our next question, we have, how did serving as president of Project Green shape your views on leadership and environmental responsibility?
I think the most impactful for me as serving as president of Project Green was the effort from all the students. There were so many of us, at least 60 every time we would go out we would spend every Saturday morning choosing a different park in the neighborhood and go and pick up the trash and recycle what we could. But then also we would connect with the Sierra Club at White Rock. And so we would go to the, East Dallas area, White Rock Lake, and we would go pick up the trash in the area. But that, not just with Townview, but with other organizations outside of Townview. And also as students, we look up to adults. And so being able to work with them who also cared about the environment, that just kind of ignited us to know that we were doing something that was a positive change. And then also bringing the Earth Day Carnival or Festival to Townview. That was really fun because, as I mentioned, our leadership within Townview was very open to our ideas. And so we hosted an Earth Day Carnival in the patio area outside. And then we were able to bring a large backdrop to display a video of how even if the students didn't participate in the carnival while they were eating lunch, they still got to learn and get some message about how to make a positive impact. And a lot of the students enjoyed it. And so we created different games of just kind of open other people's minds about how we can watch, reduce, reuse, recycle, and then in return, their prize was a cupcake, something sweet. And so that was very helpful because not only did we impact just our group, but just Townview overall. And so it was something that others looked forward to, like, oh, here comes Earth Day.
That sounds really fun. That makes me wonder about your senior year. How would you describe your senior year at SEM?
To me, it was so fun because it was 2011. And so senior year, you're doing a bunch of field trips. It's like your last classes. And then it was also the Mavericks championship. So we were ecstatic. We were living it up, and we had so much fun. I mean, we were ready, not just to graduate, but, as students of Townview, we're taught about our higher education. So it's this, okay, we're on to our next adventure, and then we know we're not doing it alone. We're grouping with our friends, like, where are you going? And so it was an awesome year. I think about it all the time. And then also our motto as a class was love each other. And so just we tried our best to work as a team, as we all do, because we all know, we have a lot to learn and a lot to grow. And then going on to higher education is a whole nother journey. So it was amazing. I think about it every day almost, especially being here now. I wish I could relive it again.
And now onto your higher education. How did your experience as Miss American Indian OSU influence your leadership journey?
Whenever any leadership opportunity is available, to me, I'm grateful for it because it gives me a seat at the table, especially with my own personal knowledge, not just for the environment, but culturally. And so I noticed that whenever I sit at certain tables, an Indigenous woman perspective might be missing. And so I bring that education and that value to the table. Otherwise, other individuals may not experience that in their lifetime. And so to me, it's always powerful anytime I have the opportunity. So being Miss American Indian OSU, that was an opportunity for me to travel, not just to different powwows, but to different institutions of higher education, to network and create a pathway so that if anyone was interested or needed a speaker, that they knew who to contact. And so that is always what leadership is for me. It's just creating more and more pathways.
I know you co-founded the Intertribal Community Council of Texas. What inspired you to co-found that organization?
The main purpose was civic engagement. How do we get our community involved? How do we educate them about policies or resources that benefit them? And how do we just bring everyone together, not just through civic engagement, but socially and culturally? Because whenever we're in an urban setting like Dallas, I mean, it's very a high functioning society. You know, we're always on the move. We have to be here in 3 places at once. And so our goal was just to bring the community together and have a safe space where we can have conversations and we can understand what either our needs for the community are or our wants, you know, like what are we needing? And so we wanted to meet that need and be that voice so that if anyone in our community needed assistance, we could be there for them.
So we know you participated in a lot of organizations. So what motivated you to like join and participate them? And how did that help you later in life?
So I would like to talk about my childhood because I feel like that stemmed everything from the beginning. When I was 4 years old, I grew up in Ruidoso, New Mexico. And I remember sitting in class, I was in pre-K, and everybody in the class knew how to read except for me and maybe one more student. And so that's when I realized, oh, hey, you know, I was missing out on something. And so ever since then, I was like, well, I want to know everything there is to know out there. And so the way that we do that is just sometimes just showing up. And showing up can be the hardest part, you know? So just showing up, sitting and listening, you know, I enjoy being at leadership tables so that if there's something that I learned, I can bring to the table and share with others, but also so that I can learn too from others and then take that with me, not just to either my family, but also to the community. And even right now in the city of Dallas, you know, we have a lot of environmental situations. And so we all have a part to play, every one of us. And so that is what inspires me and motivates me is what's new information I can gain today.
You mentioned the Mavericks MBA program. Can you tell us about that and what it is and how was your experience there?
So the Mavericks MBA program is a resource to help business owners and entrepreneurs with resources to help elevate their business. And it's actually an application process. And I had applied the second year that they provided it because they're actually starting their 4th year this year. So it's kind of a fairly new program. And I didn't make it through the second cohort, but I did apply again and made it through the 3rd cohort. And it just provides a lot of resources. And the most impactful part is just when you are in a room with other successful business owners, and they give you that guidance of, you know, it is going to be tough in the beginning, but just stick it out and you'll see the success at the end. And so that was really helpful. And being able to just learn and grow with other business owners and entrepreneurs who may be just starting out or may have already been a few years in business. And so we just collaborate and share that information because sometimes being an entrepreneur, it can be a lonely journey. And so that's why you find your networks and resources. And it was an amazing experience.
You founded Lusky Print, correct? That's how you pronounce it, Lusky? Lusky, okay. And how difficult was that journey, especially as a Native American woman? How difficult was it to reach the scale that you currently have?
So Lixie Print LLC. Lixie means turtle in Choctaw, in my Choctaw language. And for me, being an entrepreneur and business owner it's a tough journey. And a big part of the journey that's tough is both policies and also everyday life. I mean, most business owners, if you talk to them, they'll say, it's my part-time because I still have a full-time job, or I have all these other responsibilities. So really the most difficult part is just the time it takes to build it up. And for me, I took many entrepreneurship classes when I was in my higher education journey. So that was helpful because I was already aware of the process. But then starting it, like filing my LLC, sometimes that can be intimidating. But thankfully, there's YouTube. If there's something I don't know, I YouTube it, Google it.
We all do.
Yes, and that's what we have to do sometimes, And that's why I tell people, even if you don't go to college or higher education, there's so many resources that you can use to help you. And there's also nonprofits that will help you. And so for me, it was just tying it into my culture, because when you start a business, it's really a lifestyle. It's something you're going to think about 24/7. You're going to build on it 24/7, even while you're doing your daily routines. And so I wanted it to be something that I knew I would want to carry with me every day. And so I tie my business in not just for providing printed materials, but also an opportunity to educate others that there are Native-owned businesses and Native women-owned businesses. And so even now, we started in 2022, and it's been 3 years. But to me, I'm always like, I can't wait to celebrate 10 years. So there's always something to look forward to. And that's what really helps me in my business journey is, what are my next goals? Did I reach them? And it's not always about the time. It's more about, like they say, the journey. I'm like, like when I first started out, it was, okay, what's my brand? I want it green and black. And now I'm like, okay, I need 2 more staff members. And then so it just builds up over time. And it's always fun to just reflect and look back, because when you're going in that moment, it seems like, when am I going to get to the next step? And then now looking back, I'm like, woo, I already went through all that. Yeah. And I enjoy it so much.
So you started Lixie Print in 2022. So it's been 3 years now. So I would ask, what are some lessons that you've learned through your whole journey? Because like you said, it's a journey. It's not a sprint. And it's something that's going to obviously progress and everything. So what are some lessons that you've learned from managing your own business?
The most important lesson, and that's actually what I learned too through the Dallas MBA program, is just be yourself. You are your own unique individual, and your company and your mission, you want it to reflect you and what you're building. And that's important to me because, especially in the business world, it moves very, very fast. You have meetings all day, you have to network all day. But to me, I personally go at my own pace. And I feel like every day, I will have my time for my business. But most importantly, my family comes first. And so I always try to make that priority. But that's my own individual goals. And so that's really what it is. It's just be yourself, because you know who you are. And you can learn and grow and take a little piece with you. But just don't forget that.
I agree.
So, yeah, we've been touching on your company, Lixie Print. And so the next question I want to ask is, where do you see yourself and your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
In 5 to 10 years, my goal is to be able to bring brand awareness across the U.S. I feel like right now I'm doing good in Texas, Oklahoma, a little bit at different states, but I really want people to at least know I'm an option, because there's so many choices out there, and that's actually one of my missions. And just to be able to provide printed products that don't take too much out of your pocket, budget friendly. Also, to me, customer service is the most important aspect. And so creating a customer friendly interaction. And ideally, one of our 5-year goals is to have our own actual brick and mortar, similar, to other big businesses, but a 24-hour copy and print. Sometimes I come across many people that I need it tomorrow. I need my resume printed at 4 a.m. So creating that space, maybe not only here in Dallas, but, one location in each of the big cities, so that they have available printing and they don't have to wait till the next shop opens up at maybe 7 a.m. Just creating resources 24/7.
I know you mentioned being a leader. What advice would you give to current students who want to become a leader?
I would suggest to hang out with other leaders, because when you hang out with other leaders, you can see that, we're all just learning together and we're just sharing information together. And the most important part about leadership is speaking up. A lot of people might question, maybe what I have to say might not matter, but everything matters. And every word we say matters, and everything we put out. Like I said, everything is energy. And so for leadership, you want to pass that energy on to your community or your peers. And leadership is always about serving your constituents and not the other way around. Leadership is not, I have to make a name for myself. And you may along the way, but overall leadership is trying to help your community so that we can grow together. And so just get involved. And it might be scary at first. I mean, even for me, for Miss American Indian OSU, that was my first time realizing I do have stage fright a little bit, and especially with strangers. When I'm in a room with people I know, I can talk, but when I'm in a room with individuals I don't know, I might get a little shy. But that's why it's important to network and communicate, because then we can put a name to that face, and then it's not so scary, and we can communicate.
On this topic of leadership, a lot of students here are like very confused and like a lot of people say that they don't have time to find all these leadership roles to do for their extracurriculars. And you, as I've heard, you have so many extracurriculars, and like even as a CEO, which you have so many different ventures. What advice could you tell these students that feel too overwhelmed, or they feel they don't have enough time to do what they want?
That's a great question. To me, time is relative. So even culturally, you might hear from indigenous people, I'm running on Indian time. And that is because, culturally, we know we're at right where we're supposed to be at every moment. And so, you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress. And sometimes we do, especially in a high-functioning world where we do have lots of meetings to go to, but it's just remembering doing what you have to do for yourself, whether it's meditation or singing and dancing or yoga. I mean, those are things I try to do every day, because life is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be working together, and that's why I did enjoy growing up and getting my education through Townview, because we were all always just trying to learn and grow, and so I would say, just there is time management too, and every day just figure out, what is it that I really want to accomplish today, and set that as your main goal. Now, maybe you might not reach that goal, but like we said, it's always the journey. What did you learn on the way? And one day you'll get there. So just take care of yourself.
You've been through so much. You've been through a lot. So what would you say, if you could go back and talk to your high school self and tell them one thing, what would it be?
Well, that's actually why I brought my medallion. So I really try to do beadwork. This is another way that I relax and kind of bring me to my center, because this is something I started out, I'm working on for a friend. And so I have to add beads, and tack them down. And so here's the back. So you see all this needlework, not only does it connect me to myself, but culturally we're taught that our ancestors are always with us and our creator is always with us. And so when we make space for that, we're more open to seeing these messages or these signs. And so for me, to myself, I would just remind myself to keep being yourself. And we all, not only does each bead maybe represent a piece of new information that we learned, but it also could represent each person that we meet and each one of us, not just here in Dallas, but globally. And so eventually the medallion may become a full beaded work. And so every little piece matters. Every step you take matters. And then, you might mess up, like here, my green might be a little bit off, but by the time that it's done, you want to even notice. And so every mistake matters. Every success matters. Everything is a part of who you will be. And so sometimes we won't even know how the picture fit until it's done. And so just embrace every opportunity. And, I was a part of SEM and Project Green. And if I could come back, it would be, okay, I want to be part of business, because I still ended up doing entrepreneurship, and be a part of health, because our health is important to us. So it's not just working within our own schools, but while we're here at Townview, to work with everybody, so that we can get a little bit of information, because we're going to need it. You most definitely will need it, as you continue your journey.
Can you tell us more about your culture and where you came from?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, on my mother's side, we're Choctaw, and then on my father's side, we're Cohuitecan. And on my Choctaw side, I am more involved there, and that is because there's an important need that needs to be met and has not been met yet. And so for me, through all my resources and through all my education, it's important for me to go take that back to my community. And that is what was taught to me by elders in the community, was you might go out in the real world and you might see that, there's competition, even in sports. Sports is really big and everything's about competition. But you have to remember we're all a community. We all bring an important aspect. And so don't forget, you can do this way too, but you can also come back and build a ladder for those that are coming behind you and the future generations. And so you might burst a little bubble and you make a little pathway for them. And so that's what we're always trying to do. And culturally, that's what we're always taught, is to learn and grow and bring back to our communities so we can help.
Thank you, Ms. Arredondo, for sharing your journey with us today. From your days at SEM to co-founding the Intertribal community of Texas and launching Lusky Print, your story is a great example of how leadership, vision, and dedication can really create a lasting impact. Your experience shows today's students what is possible when they pursue goals with purpose and a commitment to giving back. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. This is our goal of our SBM and TMC 30 Alumni Series, to highlight graduates who continue to inspire and make a difference. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel so you do not miss the next episode. Until next time, this has been KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview. Stay awesome.
Thank you for listening to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
My radio station.
We hope you enjoyed the great content and great discussion, all from a student's perspective. Make sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest updates at KSBM_TVT or on Facebook at KSBM Radio.
Add them on Facebook.
Check them on Facebook.
Take care.